sectors,
So,
which will look at trade, transport, and communication. So three variables put together: trade, transport, and communication. But under human geography, all that we've been discussing, they are not anything new. They are just the things around us. And I always make presentation in such a way that it aligns with you. You feel it that this is everyday life. What I've been experiencing. So when we talk of trade, it is not trade from anywhere. You guys who go to Malata Market, Medina, Aboso Kai, what do you call it, KJTia, those of you go to Dabala Market, those of us who are also at, there is a market after Kintampo, Babatokuma, is it Babatokuma? There's a market there, Tichuma, all over the country. It is the buying and selling, or the interaction between demand and supply. That is basically what we are talking about. In fact, transportation. Yesterday I used the Bogoso Ayamfre road up to what do you call it, Takwa, Takrabe, and then I came back to campus last night. It will be good everybody gets his or her car. The rest I'll tell you later. But transport system in this country, from driver, passenger, road, and even the vehicle themselves, the best is, like I'm saying, my prescription. I wish above all things that everybody will get his own means of transportation in order to avoid frustrations and unnecessary delay, and people want to transfer their anger to you for no reason. It's a whole lot. Then we shall also look at communication, exchange of information, a whole lot. So let's look at the first one now. The categories of economic activities. Now, the economy is basically divided into three. We have the primary, secondary, tertiary, and then we have the quaternary and the quinary. But we don't usually put much emphasis on the last two. Sometimes, let me digress a little into the field of economics. Sometimes when we talk of economy, many a times we are tempted to limit economy to exchange rate only. No, the exchange rate, even though it is a key driver of our economy, that is true. But when we talk of economy, it goes beyond what do you call it, exchange rate. So the question is, what of those who don't use any other currency, or like they don't even do much importation like we do? They don't struggle with inflation and those things. Like when you go to UK and the other advanced countries, a friend went to do masters. When he went back 2-3 years later to do a PhD, he said, the very things that I bought when I came to do master is the same price. For about 3-4 years, it was the same. So in other parts of the world where they have worked very hard to check or to put their inflation at the right perspective, they don't struggle or fight over exchange rate like we do. So economy goes beyond just the exchange rate. In our part of the world, our economy, we've divided it into three, like I mentioned earlier on. So the primary activities comprises all extractive activities. When we talk of primary, we are looking at hunting and gathering, farming of all kinds, livestock, herding, fishing, and aquaculture, forestry, lumbering, and mining. In fact, this involves workers who directly contact with the natural environment, which often result in environmental degradation. And I remember when we dealing with thematic geography of Ghana. In fact, we went into detail. So if you want a detailed note, you can refer back to that literature and it is the same. But the most important thing is understanding it that the primary sector basically deals directly with the environment. So you look at all the variables, all the branches that we've mentioned, you see that it has to do with the direct engagement with the environment. On the other hand, the secondary activities, it refers to the conversion of the raw materials into finished product or semi-finished. So the secondary sector or the secondary activities, they get hold of the primary, and then they add touches to it to either give you a finished product or a semi-finished product. So here we are talking about the manufacturing industry. And in our part of the world, we talk about manufacturing a lot, but we do very little. So sometimes I tell students that if you want to see that Ghanaians are mostly at the receiving end. When I say at the receiving end, we are consumers. We don't produce, we produce little, but we consume more. If you want to know, when you are walking on the street, look at the number of shops you see along the roadside. It is a clear indication that these people, they are not producers. We always want to get already made. We want to eat. So whoever builds closer to the road, the first thing that comes into mind, so you see shops all along the road. When you are traveling, just be observant. You see a lot of shops. People who build closer to the road, no matter what they build, they will make sure that they put a shop in it. That is a clear indicator of we not being producers, but always being at the receiving end or being consumers, large consumers. And that's a classic example. So under the secondary sector, that's what happens. Then the tertiary, this is sometimes called the service industry. This category connect producers to consumers and thus facilitate commerce and trade. They may include banks, hospitals, offices, and shops. The workers are made up of doctors, lawyers, teachers, etc. So here, the key variable is that in the tertiary, it is service oriented. It is service oriented. I hope you get that. It is service oriented. Then the quaternary, they are the growing number of people who are busy collecting, processing, manipulating, and providing information. This is referred to as the computer age, the era of satellite data transmission, and unprecedented volume and flow of intelligence. So this one has to do with more or less data processing. Now that is where the world is going to. Now data is very expensive. Those who deal with data, in fact, they are recognized as a major stakeholders in our economy, day-to-day running of our economy. Data is very, very critical today. Manipulating of data or even working with the data. Now, when you hear of the Musa Dankwa, that man, his name has become a household name because almost every week he will conduct proofs. I don't know how he collects his data, and many people have challenged him with how he collects his data. That almost every 2 weeks he is publishing, he's in the news. And what can you do until somebody gives us a better alternative or disprove his findings? We will continue to rely on him and the publications that he does. We can also talk of the Ghana Statistical Service, a major government agency responsible for collecting data and then running them, giving us the result. In fact, it is in our part of the world that we don't pay much attention to data, but in the advanced countries, you don't joke with it because data manipulation and data manipulation and running and getting the result helps in decision making. But we sometimes want to belittle data. So please take notice of that. So when we talk of the quaternary activities, that is basically extra. Okay. Hello. Sorry about that. Forgive me. I need to go on to this go. So the last one, I hope you are taking notice of that. The last one, which is the culinary activities. Some economic geographers recognize a fit level, which is sometimes called decision-making occupation. These are the managerial or control function activities that guide the world's numerous major corporations. Here, decisions are made largely on the basis of information flow in the quaternary sector. Although few individuals perform these functions, their impact on the world economy is enormous. So the quaternary. So when we talk of the quaternary, we are talking about decision making. You see, sometimes, so more or less like consultancy, services. You see, it is once again in our part of the world that sometimes we don't value consultancy. Sometimes when you even go to someone for consultation and you charge them, people see it as weird. But in the other world, it is a serious business. Yesterday, I called a friend from Access Bank and I was asking him about stock. And he said, well, he doesn't have much information, but he knows someone whose business is trading in stock. And he will liaise me to the person. And he sent me a contact of that person. I'm here to even talk to the person. So you are an information away to your breakthrough. No two ways about that. Never belittle it. You are an information. You are a consultation away from your major breakthrough. Because what somebody will tell you, an idea somebody will give you, can be a turning point for you. But like I'm saying, here we see it as normal. Oh, me person me your portrait farm, but me we say una way be na me me ba. The person will give you that consult for free or better, will not even take anything. But in the other word, no, you book the person and then you go there, sit one-on-one. If it is 1 hour, then you maybe 500 Ghana. If it is 2 hours, you pay. Then you listen. Especially in our part, sometimes when you even give information to people for free, they don't even value it. You understand? So out of that, and some of them, when you do that, then they can give you the best of idea, the best of information, the best of decision. They will help you to take a decision that will turn your life around for the rest of your life. And that one is what we call the culinary activity. So the economy today can be looked at from 5 angles, even though the major ones are those that we have listed. The major ones are those that we have listed: the primary, the secondary, the tertiary, then the fourth one, which is the quaternary, and then the quinary sections. So take notice of that. Brad Sammy, can you mute yourself? Samuel, please mute yourself.
I wanted to, ask a question.
Okay, that's fine. Let's hear you. Sammy, we are listening, please.
Yeah, I said of late, pastors are taking consultation fee. So can we term that under
Hello?
Sir,
We say pastors are taking one.
Consultation fee.
But once you have mentioned the name, how different is pastors consultation from the stockbroker who is in the banking, or because that one is a pastor, you should have done it for free. You see our perception. You see, he's also rendering services to you. Some people don't even understand why pastors should be paid. I mean, I don't understand why people have problems when pastors are being paid. So, Sammy, I don't see anything wrong with a pastor saying you want to take consultation fee. Or what do you think? You think you shouldn't have? You don't think you see, some of the pastors, it's not only about the pastoral work that they are doing. Some of them, they also do other things. So for the other things, if you go there to help you on that score, and you have to pay for that service, fair enough. But maybe when you go to the person and say you should pray for you or you should counsel you. In fact, counseling is different from consultation or consultancy. If you say you went to the pastor for counseling and he decided to charge you, that is where maybe we may because the Bible that we are all using as our manual, to some extent, will not approve of that. Even though the Bible says, freely you were given, freely you should also give. But that one can be interpreted in several ways. But like I'm saying, if it comes to maybe the person is your pastor, if the person is not your pastor, and you just want to go to the person for that help or that services, I don't think there's nothing wrong. In fact, the charges in fact, in our part, when it comes to issues of spirituality, its interpretation is very, very difficult. Very, very difficult, because they will see you even as a demon. The way we see our things is way different. So sometimes it becomes quite, but know that, yeah, okay. So someone is saying that some pastors are professional counselors. So if a pastor is a professional counselor, yes, if the person is a registered known professional counselor, you don't expect to go to the person for that services for free, because there are equally some counselors who are not pastors and people book them, people pay to go to them for counseling. So Brasa, maybe we may look at it from that. Okay. So let's look at spatial interaction. Now, trade and exchange are forms of spatial interaction, a term used to describe movement of people, goods, and information between one place and another. So when we talk of spatial interaction, we are looking at movement and please hold on for me a minute. Okay. So we are looking at spatial interaction as the movement of people, goods, and information between one place and another. Analysis of spatial interaction focuses on those conditions needed for the interaction to take place. So take notice of that. What is the main focus of spatial interaction? Spatial interaction focuses on the conditions that make people, movement of people, goods, and services possible or flow. So wherever you are, if you want to go and get some services, how do you get there? How do you meet the people? So those engagement, those parameters that come together to ensure that that services you are in need of is completed is what is termed as spatial, or that is what spatial interaction focuses on. So certain conditions must be met in order for spatial interaction to occur. These include complementarity or complementary and transferability. So these are the two. The absence of intervening opportunity also plays an important role. So the two are complementary and transferability, but there is also what is called an intervening opportunity. Please take a closer look at this thing because we usually ask questions on that. So complementarity, what does it mean? Implies that something supplied at one place is in demand at another. So a lot of our manufactured goods in Ghana, for example, are done in Tema. So you are at Bordia or Samanhu. These are places in Takwa. Bordia, Samanhu. But the thing is in what do you call it? Tema. So what is produced in Tema, it is in demand in Samanhu or Bordia. That is what is termed as what? Complementarity. So for spatial interaction to occur, there should be demand for goods and services produced in a particular place at another place. I don't know if you understand it. Okay. So here, spatial interaction occur only if if cost-effective transportation between places is available. So for the spatial interaction to occur between the two, what is cost-effective? Now, if I travel from Samanhu to Tema to buy the item, considering my transportation, will my transportation and other costs exceed the price or exceed the benefit that I can derive from what I'm going to buy? If that is the case, then that is not cost effective. But if I travel all the way from Samanhu to Tema to buy the goods and I can still make profit, then that is cost effective. So cost effective ensures that spatial interaction occurs. And every rational being will do this mathematics before rolling out whatever form of engagement that has to be done. Now, the condition that cost be accepted in order for exchange to occur is known as what? Transferability. So the condition that cost must be acceptable for the exchange to occur. So which means your purchasing power. Do you have it? Do you have the money to buy? Is the person also willing to buy? If that, because you may have the purchasing power, but the person is not willing to sell. Transferability hasn't occurred. But so the cost, not only in the monetary terms, but the satisfaction. Sometimes you cannot sell something when you are not satisfied, when you are not willing to even let the thing go. They all form part of the cost. So the condition that cost be accepted in order for the exchange to occur is known as transferability. If transportation is unavailable or too expensive, there will be no interaction, and that is true. Remarkably, or remarkable improvement in transportation technology have dramatically reduced the friction of distance between places. I travel for about almost 1 month now. I've been in Chile, and I went to Western North region to visit my mother. Now, where she lives is a new place, and in fact, the last time I went there in October, transportation to her house was very terrible. My goodness! But last Monday, when I went there, oh my goodness, they've graded the what do you call it? The road leading to their place and all the streets. And the distance that I used to spend about 25 to about 30 minutes before getting to her place. This time around, less than 4-5 minutes, I was there. Oh my goodness. I was so excited. And when I asked this, oh, it is the MP who did that. And I said, if they were voting that day, I wouldn't have even thought twice. I would have voted for the guy. I won't think twice. No. So I said, wow, is the transportation facilitate business? Just that we sometimes when we are talking about road construction, people belittle it. But I'm telling you, if you have accessible or movable road, it facilitates business, it facilitates movement. Last 2 years, I went to Mansoda Tunnel. I don't know how many of you know Mansoda Tunnel. There are West roads in Ghana, but that one I don't know how to describe it. My goodness. Hey, from Anyangwanta, Bekwai area, or Boise area, then when you are going to Mansoda Tunnel, what? I've seen bad roads, but that road, I don't know how to describe it. Can you imagine? You don't even have the appetite. If it wasn't that I was going to supervise a student who was doing off-campus teaching practice, I don't know what will take me to that place. No. I won't come. So if you are even a lady and you are there, you will not even get a husband. Who is coming to marry you from that village? Because of road. Can you imagine? So bad road can deny you a husband. We can go through this. It was terrible. So take notice of that. So the amount of interaction occurring between two places also depend on the location of alternative supply or demand. I hope you agree. If I will go this long distance and get the same thing at another close area, as a rational being, I'll go for the one that is closer. In fact, if you are looking for one of the things that subject Ghanaians to psychological trauma, it is traveling. When you are about traveling, and you don't have your own car, the psychological trauma, the pain you go through even before you go and sit in the car, you'll be thinking. Yesterday, when I set off from the beginning, it was 11 a.m. Can you imagine traveling 11 a.m. and getting to your destination at 11 p.m.? Please, why? What have we done wrong? If somebody happened to have gone to the UK, the person would have gone to UK and come back, because if you are going to UK from Ghana, it is maximum 6 hours. If you take British Airways straight, 6 hours you are there, 6 hours you are back. And somebody who is setting off from Kumasi to Tamale wouldn't have got a burger, wouldn't have got into his place. Somebody can go to UK and come back, return journey, and still be on the road in Ghana. When you are going to a burger from Kumasi, you are in trouble. So look at the pain, the psychological pain you go through. So anytime, and we don't have good transport system, we don't have train, because from Kumasi to Accra shouldn't have been by road. If you should be by road, you should have been 6-lane, proper road. Should have been done by the railway or train. But we don't have. And then they put you in a car. And oh my goodness. That's why when there is an accident, people die a lot. Because the seat, there are no interval. Your knees will not get any comfortable place. Oh my way, hey. This country, living here is very painful. Oko fro car, ohun achire, oko to aduane a, ohun achire, oko school a, ohun achire. Bi kese ahun kire sa. Why? Why? Oh, it's too much. It's too much. It's too much. Okay. Let's go on. Somebody say even when you sleep, when you are sleeping, punishment to live in this country. Eddie. Now, the more conveniently located place represents an intervening opportunity. You remember from the beginning, I said, I mentioned some variables here to you, and I said an intervening opportunity also influences spatial interaction. It is here. I said intervening opportunity. Apart from the complementary and the transferability, an intervening opportunity can also affect what? Spatial interaction. And that is what has been mentioned here. So then what is the intervening opportunity? So the more conveniently located place represents. So if I have to travel all the way from Cape Coast to Tema, and I can get some in, or the same service at what do you call it? Mankesim. Why would I continue to Tema? So the Mankesim then becomes what? The intervening opportunity. So the concept of intervening opportunity has important implications for transportation, communication, trade, migration, and other forms of spatial interaction. Trade patterns are greatly affected by the presence or absence of intervening opportunities. There is little demand in North America for citrus fruits grown in the Mediterranean region due to competition from much closer citrus producing areas of Florida, Texas, California, and Latin America. Please you get that. Okay, so that is that on the spatial interaction. Still on transportation. Now, the transferability of goods across space depends on adequate, cost-effective transportation. The availability of transport, like production, creates value. The availability of transportation expands market for products. That is true. Sometimes we complain, oh, the cars cannot go for them. If you go to, let's say, Rubegu or Kwabnakwa or Inipa Nchemia or Bodresango. These are food producing areas. But to bring them to the market, it becomes a problem. When you go to Akuma, Dan, Techima, in those areas where they farm, Last, I went to Salaga. I was in Salaga for about 2 weeks to collect data. And I use Makango. You see, you can use the Makango and cross the Volta Lake to Yeji. So you see a lot of huge trucks packed with yams. But for the ferry, the question is, how would these yams get to the market? So it is the ferry that helps to transport or bridges the gap between Salaga or the East Gonja municipality, the Abrumasi, the Pembi, the Kafaba, those communities where they produce cashew, they produce yam, they produce maize. How would it have gotten to Kumasi and Accra for those of you who are in those areas to get your daily bread? So transportation is a key factor. So continued improvement in the efficiency of transportation have speeded the process of acculturation and have been crucial to the rapid rise of international trade that characterizes the contemporary world. In some part of the world, human labor and draft animals continue to produce or provide transportation. In many East and South Asian cities, transportation is provided by rickshaw or open to wheel cart, pulled by human beings, serving as taxi cab. In Asia, Latin America, and Africa, people continue to carry heavy loads on their back or heads for long distance. Students, why are you clapping and laughing so many times? You're happy, eh? Thank God. You see, what do you call it? In our part of the world, we carry goods on our heads. A friend went to the US. Went to the US. And you know what happened? He went to a provision shop, bought so many things. And then after buying the things, he took an empty box, had everything in it. You know, Ghana ni awodu America, okodini jwa kusini dem na wadini nkakra, akot to tomo side those things. Box I am. When the guy finished, then he carried it on his head in the street. In less than 5 minutes, then the police surrounded him. Hey, are you all right? Is everything all right? Is everything all right? So the guy was wondering, what have I done? Like they were surprised that a human being was carrying a box on the head. My goodness. Poverty is pain. I'm telling you, poverty is pain. Poverty is pain. They say, or the Ghana Brabona Quatra America. One yama will be so boskes, son of the name crowding. Say, Charlie, you can't do this here. You can't do this here. No, human beings, and also the head is not meant to carry goods. Can you imagine? Carry firewood. See, maize maize, that techimai sack, the white one, long one. Then you see men put it on their neck. No wonder men will always die early and leave their wives. Can you imagine? You will die. Ubewu. No, this one, nobody needs to curse you or say anything. You will die from hard work. The head was not meant to carry goods. But before, because of where we find ourselves, to use our head, very heavy goods. Doesn't want to go to other parts of Asia. They do that. So relative to modern mechanic transportation, this type of transportation is very costly in terms of time and labor. When you go to the north, they use the donkey, then they connect a bucket to the back, then they put the load in it. That's what is called cart. C-A-R-T. Are you okay? That's what is called cart. And then the huge trucks, that's what they call the cargo. Why? Because of the bulky goods that they carry. Today, several distinct modes of transportation are used to move people and goods from one place to another. Trucks, railroad, water carriers, and aircraft all play important roles in contemporary industrial transportation. The relative importance of each varies in accordance with the type of freight moved and the distance to be covered. In general, highways are more efficient than railroads for local and medium distance movement of cargo. Highways are much more flexible than railroads or inland waterways. Although their energy efficiency is relatively low, because roads are built much more cheaply than railroads or canals, road networks are more useful in responding quickly to changes in supply. So what is the impact of automobile? Automobile use has spurred the decentralization or employment, shopping, and other activities, as well as deconcentration of residential places. Now, if you have a car or means of transportation, it doesn't matter where you are going to stay. You are good to go. Or car, you can. You know, when you go to the advanced countries, somebody can be staying in Kumasi and be working in Accra. It is possible because they have some parts. They have 12 lane roads. One side 12, the other side 12. No, on proper road. So Accra, Kumasi. You remember what happened? Was it 24 or so? When the Accra Kumasi road came to a standstill. A road joining two major cities in Ghana. Till date, we don't even have 2 lanes on one side, 2 lanes there, 2 lanes out, 2 lanes in. We don't have it. Can you imagine? In fact, transportation is a key driver to development. Road network. Oh. You sit in the car, sir. Me, when I sit in the car for long, then I start experiencing headache. Let me tell you, anytime I meet you, I have to drive or you join passenger's car. Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. But deconcentration are all made possible as a result of automobile. Land use in major cities of the developed countries is dominated by automobiles. Over a third of urban land in most American cities is devoted to streets, roads, parking or parking lot, automobile dealership, and other car-oriented land use. No, I'm not surprised because the number of cars in America is more than even the people there. Yeah, so when it comes to car park, they don't joke with it. Roads, they don't joke with it. Then I can see traffic. It is here, it is only here that you see roads crossing roads. Oh. No, 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 no. In those parts of the world, it is either they will do underground or you go on top of it. A crime be trap crime, either say the better form and that's one with the better so. Yeah, in fact, in car crime, oh, you don't cross. No, no, no. But here, people are crossing. Oh, it's a whole different life. New buildings are constructed with an eye towards automobile accessibility, and streets must be wide enough to accommodate the increasing volume of automobile. We don't do that. Getting carbon shower. Okay, these ones you can read them. Yeah, that's true. A lot are dying from road accidents. So that is that on the transportation. Let's touch on the trade. So the expansion of international trade has magnified the importance of comparative advantage in industrial production. Now, the principle of comparative advantage stresses relative rather than actual advantage as the basis for trade. It implies that a particular region will export the goods it can produce at the lowest relative cost. So when we talk of comparative advantage, what it implies is that look at the goods that you can produce at a lower or a cheaper cost, and that one export it. It will give you more. That's simply what we term as comparative advantage. So if you are going to produce gari and Celerac, which of them gives you comparative advantage? Which of them can you produce at a lower cost? At the international level, this is what you do. You look at the one that you can produce at a cheaper or a lower cost, and then you produce that one and you export it. That one usually gives you more profit. That's what the Chinese are doing. Now, the continued expansion of international trade depends on free trade between countries. However, countries make effort to restrict free trade in order to protect domestic industries or consumers. Those efforts may involve the enactment of tariff. A tariff is a tax or duty exacted against a particular category of merchandise entering or leaving a country. Okay. And then quick one on tourism. Tourism is travel undertaken for recreation rather than there are so many China malls, that's true. For business purposes, when you talk of tourism, you are going to a place for recreation. You are going to enjoy yourself. That is basically on tourism. Okay. And we have what is called communication. Improvement in transportation technology. The free trade is deteriorating our market. Yeah. So it is our responsibility to put in place mechanisms. Ghana, we have beautiful laws, just that we don't follow them. In Ghana, if you're a foreigner and you want to engage in business, you must have a minimum capital requirement of $40,000. $40,000. But the question is, those Chinese people who are roasting plantain on the street of Ghana, want to talk about you hear for $40,000 to talk about, but we watch them on, and they keep doing that. Huh? You can go to their country, and if this is a policy they have put in place to check or control their market for their people. You dare not, they will not. But here, Ghanaians can even go and take the shops in their names and give it to the Chinese people. Then communication. Improvement in transportation technology have been dramatically reduced the friction of distance have been paralleled by improvement in communication. Okay, increasing efficient and speedy methods of sending information across long distances have come into common use. Instantaneous transfer of long and complex messages from almost any part on the Earth's surface to almost any other point is now possible. So we have individual communication, we have mass communication. So communication, that's the level. So individual communication involves direct transmission of information between people. So I call course rep and tell him, oh, next week we'll write quiz. That's an individual level communication. A mass communication involves the transmission of information from one region to a large numbers of recipients through established channel. So the radio is practicing mass communication. Okay. Now, the flow of information transmitted via mass communication is regulated by individuals. I hope you know the Ghana National Communication Authority. Yes. Whether or not a particular news story is broadcast depends on the decisions of newspaper editors or television news program directors. Such individuals are called gatekeepers. So the news that is read, they have editor-in-chief. After writing all the stories, you have to read, do cross-check. Those that have to be called, you call them, oh, Stephen, we have heard this story. What is your side? So you must do all your double checks before they present the news on either radio or on television. And they are called gatekeepers. Okay, so that is that on transport, communication, and then tourism. Any questions, please? Yes, please. Any question?
No, sir.
Okay. In that case, then let's look at the last one for this semester. The state and political processes. I think you guys will do geopolitics, climatology and geopolitics. And this is just synopsis of it. When we get there, we'll do it into detail. But let's look at this one briefly. Now, geopolitics or the state and political processes. So we are looking at the state of Ghana and political processes. Now, geopolitics is concerned with the study of both the spatially uneven outcomes of political processes and the ways in which political processes are themselves affected by spatial structures. You know, politics is all about decision making. It's all about decision making. And when you make decisions, which who is going to be affected by it? It is the people. So the interaction or the relationship between political decision and the people more or less becomes the geopolitics or the state and then the political issues we are talking about here. You understand? Conventionally, political geography adopts a three-skill structure. So geopolitics studies international relations. How does maybe Ghana and Russia, what is our relationship? The state. A state is a clearly defined, undisputed territory with an organized government. Geopolitics studies that. The study of localities. So where we live, our local areas, what are the changes? What are the modifications? Geopolitics look at that. Now, the primary concern are their interrelationships. That is true. How do we interrelate? How do we relate with one another? Nearly all the world's population lives in a territory that specifically belongs to a given state. Nearly everyone is a citizen of a state in which he or she has become or currently lives. The state is traditionally regarded as an area with relatively well-defined, internationally recognized political boundaries. Then we have international laws. The international laws recognizes the authority of a state over a specific territory. So the question then is, how come Donald Trump goes to Venezuela and arrests not ordinary citizens, they are president? That's international politics. If the Venezuelans, if they feel like Maduro or whatever he calls himself is not doing things right, should it be America that should go and arrest? Who made Americans the military of the world? Who made the Americans police of the world? I see that is how power and international relation works. The concept of sovereignty underlies the association between state, government, and territory. Sovereignty is a state's authority over its territory and population as recognized by international authority and in accordance with international laws. All aspects of public lives are governed by rules and regulations. Laws regulate or prohibit the sale of certain products, such as pornographic materials and firearms. Laws are standards for our conduct. So if you are studying a state, one key aspect you must not lose focus on is the boundaries. Because if you have a territory, then you must know your boundaries. So what are the types of boundaries that we have? We have an antecedent boundary, subsequent boundary, geometric boundary, cultural boundary, yes. And then your sister. I think this is any information. Geometric, natural, cultural, I think there are 5. Subsequent, antecedent, subsequent, geometric, natural, and then cultural boundary. So the antecedent boundaries, they are boundaries that were established or drawn before human settlement. So if you study, the partition of Africa, you realize that Africa was shared among Europeans, not even in Africa. Yes, it was shared among themselves. So, and antecedent boundaries were drawn. Then we have subsequent boundaries. They are boundaries that were agreed upon after a region or a territory has been settled or a settlement has been established. So, like now we have agreed that this is where Stephen and his people will stay. This is where I and my people will also stay. Okay, if that is the case, then let's draw the boundary. That is okay. Then we have what is called geometric boundary. They are constructed along a parallel of latitude or meridian or another straight line or geometric figure on a map. So here it is the use of geometric lines to draw boundaries. And if you pick the globe, you see a lot of them. They're natural boundaries. They are drawn along rivers like Senegal, Gambia. If you do geography of West Africa, you get to know some of these countries. They even earned their names from, what do you call it, these natural phenomena like Sierra Leone, a lion mountain, River Gambia, River Senegal. They are all natural boundaries. So we can use rivers, we can use water bodies, mountains, a forest to serve as a boundary, and it is called natural boundary. Then finally, we have what is called cultural boundary. It is drawn in order to separate members of two distinct nations. I remember I usually use this as an example when I was going to Tech. So I was going to is it Pankron? One of the communities there. And we passed through Ejazongu. Those was the days when this tricycle were being introduced. So we were in a taxi when we got to Ejazongu. Then the man at the back seat told that he had some children with him. I presume that is his children. Then you know how curious children are. One of the children asked the father, "Why is it that we have a lot of these tricycles here?" And the man was like, "I had the entire phone call." Oh. So I turn and I look at the man. Why would you say in tough one? But you see, what is he trying to say? He's trying to tell you I've got into a new territory. Are you okay? He's trying to say we've got into a new territory. Oh, if we are called the Asante Guha, that is cultural boundary. Oh, Udu Adia, Casa Omuka Dagati, that is cultural boundary. Oh, if we are called now, that is cultural boundary. Are you okay? So, what are the functions of a state? The state of Ghana, what are some of the functions? Promote economic and social development, provide for the general welfare of its citizens, promoting people from both internal and external, and then resolving conflict and providing public services. And then we have capital cities. You can read those ones on your own. I entreat you to read on the capital cities. Democracy, representation, and geography. In the contemporary world, there are two major types of democracy. Through direct democracy is a process by which people vote directly in politics. Indirect initiatives and referenda are are instruments of direct democracy. Geographers gain an insight as to why people in some regions support measures. Yeah. Hello. Yes, sir. Ivanochia. Yeah. You didn't bring it. How do I sign? So yeah, it wasn't. I was around. When did I leave? I Yes. Oh, no. So write my name there. You can let that bell sign for you. Okay. Okay. Then we have what is called now a referendum may result. So when we say referendum, what does it mean? A referendum is an election that is held to take a decision on a specific issue. So far, we have had 7 of them. The first referendum was held in 1956, 1960, 1964, then 78, then I think 2018 or 2019. Yes. So take notice of that. But that's not part of what we are doing. But once they have mentioned it, that's what I'm telling you. Representative democracy is where policy decisions are made by legislatures rather than by voters directly. Here, voters elect legislatures. So parliamentarians, a president, they practice what is called representative democracy. Why? Because we have elected them to act on our behalf. There's also what is called political culture. It is a set of beliefs, values, attitudes, habits, behaviors that characterizes a political community. So when you join NDC, they have their beliefs, they have their values, attitude, likewise the NPP. And if you look at the African continent, our way of politics is different from the Europeans. So that is what we call political culture. It is made up of cognitive, effective, and evaluative orientation. Now, what it means is that for somebody to belong to a political faction, the person will have to do an evaluative judgment, which will hinge on the person's cognitive ability. If affective, people invest their emotions into politics. That is why they fight on radio. bit me bo be assume or the neighboring kushim. That is what we are talking about. It provides assumptions that guide the public. Okay. And we have three types of political culture. We have what is called parochial cultures, subject cultures, and then participant culture. Now, the parochial culture is where citizens have no cognitive orientation towards the political system. They do not expect anything positive from government. Sometimes you hear people say, oh, the Obaba Bia Omra. There are people who don't care about whoever will be our leader when it comes to politics. And again, they don't also expect, oh, I said it in a by they are the political, the parochial culture. Now, the subject culture, citizens have cognitive orientation towards only the output aspect of the system. They expect positive actions from government, but they themselves are not politically active. So there are people, oh, you'll never be on me about Obama, making sure so that time of kind of way, or Munkabula and Famaye, or Mufa school feeding in Famra. They are only positive on the outcome. They don't look at the negatives. And then the last one, participatory culture. For them, they have cognitive orientation towards both the output and then the input. So for it, because sister in Kunya, any bucket in a pine, the Costa line 330, 7 December, I got to a bank of some of no Cosala Machi at the train nipa. Sana Electoral Commission, but no, or the blog as a line. But do my new Obejina, Yaman, Sambejina, a Joe Subashaha. Those are the people who will be the first to vote and be the last to go. Yeah, and Tony and Kotrefi and Amon kinds is here. They will stand there. Those are the the participatory culture. Those people, it's like the Electoral Commission gives them updates every morning. Those are the people who knows where the next open registration. Yeah, they know everything. Those are the participatory culture. Then we have what is called socialization. Now, the central values are transmitted through what is called political socialization. And if you do socialization, you see that is the same transfer of values from generation to generation. That is socialization. So when you bring it into politics, the same thing. We also have political socialization. There are people that once you hear their names, nobody should tell you which political affiliation the Akufo-Addos, the Ahoy brothers, the Mahames. You know that this is their political colorization. Ubi owa the fear oteno. Sorry, anopa. And you ma what ya na we winner. Eya they are all some free a shirado rado no hot da. Ubi so all of one. Oye morning devotion no but anduri. Mama, yes, or no, yeah, the telephone. That is what they will become. That is what they heard. That is what they practice. And all these forms of transfer of values, beliefs from the political arena, from one generation to another, is what is termed as political socialization. So how does these transfers done? It is done through the family. Obi or the bush of Funina, Omuya people for Edin Sobe in this. Because on Wunino, that is what he had. Wunino, you are separate by Kuhuni Patre on. So he knows exactly where he belongs. Then we have the school. There are some of us, our political ambitions started from the classroom. But D-course rep is not the entertainment chairman or hall. On the one or the other assemblyman. So you see that your political career started from the school. Some of you, your national union of Ghana students. That's true. There are some of you are. I am now for a train NDC, MPP, and I'm a DIM. That's what you're talking about. So the school and then the peers, almost the same. And the last one, the mass media. The media has become so powerful. Share. Asem could do peace FM and Kebeya one kasa di kind nanti na bon crofo amani. Say enuanom ya ba ni o. Peace before Baba Kana. I was saying ya di kan ba bomb amani. It will go everywhere. Sometimes you are here, your friends in the abroad, they will call you and tell you that Charlie. Asem we see wa Ghana ni. Now wa uti kroma akura na wonte. The power of the media. They can bring you down and they can also make you. Okay. So the media, take notice of that. They do what is called agenda setting. And then you got to years. Sometimes it is the media, they do that too. Or more they share chili. And then they make topics. And you see, when you hear certain headlines or certain graphic capturing, automatically I bet your attention. But sometimes when you read the body of the story, then you see that it is in total variance with the headlines that they have captured. Yes. And then they also do what is called bad news and media sensationalism. You see, the media knows that bad news sells. More media, no say bad news, the content. So someone they will garnish it. Now I'm a wife to so. Tibia bobo tinko. Toda out one account once I'm a casenyewa. Communication officer for MPP. Hey, I see. Well, that's your opinion. Sensationalism, yeah. It shows something that attracts the people. And we have other agencies. The church, yes. They can also serve as an agency. Sorry, no to me, power. Politicians even revere the clergy because they know the clergy has their population. Their members will listen. They don't joke with them at all. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that is that. You have the rest in your book. Yes. I'm tired. Very tired. Okay. Please, any question for me? Let me hear you out. Abba Dixon. Abba, are you in Cape here? Abba is from Pukos. Are you in Cape?
Sir, please, is that what? I didn't hear what you said.
I asked if you are in Cape.
No, sir, I'm in Sweden.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Yeah, please, any question?
Okay, sir. Please, mine is a request. If you can share some past question with regards to this particular course with the course rep, so that they can also give them
In
tips.
fact, usually the quiz questions, man. What happens is that they don't bring it back to us, but I'll ask the chief examiner. They don't bring it to us. And then the regular ones, I'll ask the regular students because this one we don't teach it for regular students, but I'll ask them those who do it on regular basis. This is a first year geography course. So I'll try and see if I get some. I'll share with Stephen, and he'll make it available to you. But just read. It is not going to be anything difficult. Once you read, you will not pick information from anywhere. They will all come from this material that we have shared with you guys. Okay.
Sir, please, the areas for this one.
As for the areas, the chief examiner he doesn't even give. But the quiz one, I don't think it will go beyond the first four, please. The first four will not go beyond that. Sometimes even the first two. But to be at the safer side, you just prepare for the first four.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So please, the exam too, where should we learn up to? Where should we cover up to for the examination?
As for the exams, it will be all the 8.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Any other question? Okay. Thank you very much. In fact, if you read your material, you come across anything you don't understand, please feel free and get in touch with me. Send me a message and I'll respond to you. In that case, enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much for your time, your attention, and your patience. Thank you, God.
Thank you, sir. May God bless you.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome.
Well, that's what sometimes supporters like to say. Yes, we want to see free-flowing football and opportunities, but 50-50 clinching tackle can certainly go down just as positive as
is their World Cup, and I keep saying that they have to go into